What if everything your accountant is telling you about saving on taxes is actually keeping you trapped in your business? Now, I know that sounds wrong. I mean, your CPA is one of the most trusted people. They've been in your corner. They're supposed to be helping you keep more of your money. You've been listening to them for years. I mean, who am I to question that, right? But here's what you may not know. The advice that's saving you money on your tax return right now might be the exact reason you can never step away from your business. I'm Aaron Santos, and I built and exited an 8-figure roofing company. I've worked with roofing company owners all over the country doing 3, 5, 7 million or more in revenue. And one of the most common things I see is an owner who thinks they're running a solid business and has no idea that the way they're set up is blocking every path to freedom. Here's the picture that most owners who reach out to us are living in. The revenue's strong, you've got a team, salespeople, crews, maybe an office manager. From the outside and honestly from the inside too, things look like they're working. I mean, you're not struggling. You seem to be doing pretty well. And the suppliers and manufacturer reps are telling you how great you're doing. And your accountant is confirming that. Your taxes are manageable. They've got you set up with a low salary and pulling the rest as distributions. Smart move, that's what they're telling you, because it saves you on payroll taxes, right? What they're not telling you, what nobody in your world is telling you, is that the way your books are structured right now means that your business will never run without you. Not because your team isn't capable, not because you haven't worked hard enough, but because the financial structure of your business is built for a self-employed person, not a business owner. And there's a difference, a big one. Here's what's actually happening under the hood. Your accountant is doing their job. Their job, the thing that they were trained for, the thing that you pay them for in their mind, is to minimize your tax bill this year. That's it. That's the metric they're optimizing for. One of the best ways to do that is to keep your owner's salary low and pull out the rest as distributions. Distributions don't get hit with payroll taxes the same way W-2 wages do. So they put you on a $80K, $60K, sometimes zero salary, and the rest comes out as draws. It saves real money, somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a year, depending on the spread. Your accountant is proud of this, and for their goal, minimize this year's taxes, that's being met. But their goal and your goal are not the same goal if you want to have a real business rather than be self-employed. Okay, I want to jump in with a quick note on the zero salary situation because it comes up more than you might think. You see, some owners, they're not just underpaying themselves, they're paying themselves nothing. No W-2 at all, just draws. And if that's you, that could be a real problem, not just strategically, but potentially legally. See, the IRS requires S-Corp owners who work in the business to take a reasonable salary. Zero salary is a red flag that could bring the IRS down on you. I'm not your tax advisor, but I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't say it plainly. So, whether your salary is zero or just below what the job is actually worth, the core problem is the same. When your books show you making 70 or 80K to run a $4 or $5 million company, your P&L is not telling the truth. Not fraud, not illegal, just inaccurate in a way that costs you more than you know. Because if you weren't there tomorrow, if you got sick, wanted to take a real vacation, or just wanted to step back and let someone else run the day-to-day, you'd have to pay someone to do what you do. And that person, they don't work for 80 grand. Someone to keep the jobs moving, run your sales team, deal with the problems that come up every single day, make the calls that nobody else wants to make. That's a $130,000, $150,000, or $160,000 role in most markets. When that cost isn't on your books, your business looks more profitable than it actually is. And that gap between what you're showing and what the business actually costs to run is creating 3 problems that are quietly blocking your path to freedom. Problem number 1. You're making every decision with the wrong number. Let's say you're at 4 million with a reported 8% net profit. That's 320 on paper, which looks solid. But your real salary should be 160,000 and you're only paying yourself 80. That $80,000 gap is a real cost that isn't on the books. Put it back in because that's what it actually costs to run your business and your margin drops to 6%. Now at 4 million, that's 240K, still okay, but not the 8% that you thought you had. And it's definitely not the 10% after salary that we want our members to have. Push that to 6 million with the same gap. Now you've got 408,000 on paper, but the real number is closer to 360. The bigger you get, the wider the gap and the worse the decisions get. Every call you make about pricing, overhead, what expenses you could afford to bring on, it's based on a margin number that really is not real. You're not making bad decisions on purpose. You're making decisions with a broken compass. Your accountant didn't give you a broken compass on purpose. You see, most self-employed roofers, they only use their financials to get their taxes done. That's it. Real business owners use their financials as a management tool. The accountants are giving you what you're asking for, a lower tax bill. But that means you're steering a $4 or $5 million company with numbers that don't tell the truth. Problem number 2, you can't build a business that runs without you if the books can't afford to replace you. Every owner that we talk to has the same thing that they're all working toward. They want to step back, stop being the guy that every problem runs through. They want to have the business work without them inside of it every single day. So here's the question that I always ask. Can your business actually afford to replace you? The stuff that you do every Monday through Friday, managing the job schedule, keeping the sales guys moving, dealing with the job that went sideways, making the calls that nobody else wants to touch. What does that cost to hire? When your books show an $80,000 owner salary, it looks like yes, you probably could find someone for that. But you can't. A real person who can actually hold that seat costs real money. And if your business can't carry that cost without your profit going backwards, then you can't leave. The math simply won't let you. Paying yourself a fair salary forces that question to be answered honestly. It's uncomfortable when you first look at it, I know it. It should be. Because if the answer is no, the business can't afford to replace me, that's not a reason to ignore it. That's the most important thing to know. That's the problem to fix. Until your P&L can carry a real person in your seat, you're not building a company. You're building a job that happens to have employees, also known as being self-employed. Problem number 3, the business you're building is worth less than you think. This one matters if you ever want to sell, and most owners do, or at least would like to think that they can sell if they wanted. When someone buys a business your size, they're buying your earnings. And the multiple that you get depends on a lot of things. How clean the books are, how dependent the business is on you, how predictable the revenue is. But the starting point is always your net profit. And the first thing any serious buyer does is recast your financials. And what that means is they take your reported salary and compare it what they'd actually have to pay someone to run the operation. Then they adjust the earnings to reflect the real cost. So here's an example. Let's say you're showing $320,000 in net profit and you're paying yourself $80,000 in owner salary, but the buyer says, no, that's a $160,000 position if I want someone to come in here and operate this company. Your earnings, your adjusted earnings, now they've dropped from 320 to 240. And if that's at a 3 times multiple, your business just went from a $960,000 value to a $720,000 value. That's $240,000, poof, gone, just from one line on the P&L. And if the business is clearly built around you, meaning every key relationship, every production decision, every big close runs through you personally, the buyers, they're going to discount you further. The risk of you walking out the door is starting to get priced in. Now, here's the other side of that. A business that already shows honest owner compensation and still runs clean margins, that's a business worth more, not less, because it tells a buyer that the numbers are real and the operation can run without the owner in it. That's what you're building toward. That's the difference between a business and a job with good revenue. So, what's the right number? Well, for a roofing owner actively running a $3 to $5 million residential retail business that's managing the sales team, overseeing production, running the business day to day, the real market rate for that work is probably somewhere between $120 and $180K in 2026 dollars. And that's depending on what market you're in, obviously, and what you're actually doing inside the business. But it's definitely not $60,000, it's definitely not $80,000. And it's not whatever keeps this year's tax bill the lowest. The right number is what you pay someone to do what you do. That's your benchmark. And when you run the math, here's what's interesting. The payroll tax difference between an $80,000 salary and a $160,000 salary is right now in 2026 somewhere between $12 and $15,000 a year. That's the number that your accountant is protecting, $12,000 to $15,000. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's like stepping over dollars to pick up dimes. Compare that to the decisions that you're making off a P&L that isn't real. Compare that to what happens to your exit value. Compare that to another 5 years of being the guy that everything runs through because the business was never structured to run without you. The tax savings are real for sure. They're just not the most important number in this conversation. At my company, we did this right from early on. We paid ourselves real salaries. Owner compensation was treated like a real business cost because it is, and we built a strict overhead structure around that. Every dollar of overhead had to earn its place. If we wanted to pay ourselves more, we had to grow the business to support it. That wasn't a sacrifice, it was the discipline that let us scale. Because when your books reflect what the business actually costs to run, including what it costs to have you in it, every other decision gets cleaner. Pricing makes sense. Overhead targets make sense. You know exactly what margin you must hit, and you know whether you're actually hitting it. The owners we work with who fix this first almost always find one of two things. Either the business is healthier than they realized, which is awesome, or there's a gap that was hidden and now they can see it and, more importantly, fix it. Either way, they're finally working with real numbers. You see, you can't fix what you can't see, and you can't build a business worth owning if the books are built around keeping this year's tax bill low. If this hit home for you, if you're doing real revenue and still feel like you're the one holding the whole thing together and you've never really looked at what your business actually costs to run with your real salary in it, I want you to go watch something right now. I put together a full training that walks through the exact structure that I use to build my company into a highly respected, premium-priced retail roofing behemoth and exit it. The training covers what it actually takes to go from being the bottleneck in your own business to building something that runs without you. It's free, and the link is in the description. Go watch it.